or even in Europe, it is because they very consciously and deliberately over the last 2 decades allowed their businesses to relocate. That was their choice, it was their strategy. So if there is pressure on jobs in many of the developed countries, the pressure on jobs is less because people came in those sectors. It is more because they allowed manufacturing to go out, and you know where.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these are issues, Raj, which they have to resolve, because in many cases the actual crisis has nothing to do with the mobility of the incoming workforce. I mean, if there are concerns, let us say, in the United States or even in Europe, it is because they very consciously and deliberately over the last 2 decades allowed their businesses to relocate. That was their choice, it was their strategy. So if there is pressure on jobs in many of the developed countries, the pressure on jobs is less because people came in those sectors. It is more because they allowed manufacturing to go out, and you know where.
Yeah.
So I think they have to find ways of fixing it, and many of them are, because if you see, it isn't only about concerns about immigration or mobility. It is also about loss of jobs and about recreating manufacturing and pulling back, what was allowed to leave over many decades. So I can't give you a simple answer to it, but the part which concerns us is to convince them that mobility, the use of talent across boundaries, is to our mutual benefit, that they would be net losers if they actually erect too many roadblocks to the flow of talent. And particularly if you move into an era of advanced manufacturing, if, this will be, you will need more talent, not less talent.
Yeah.
And talent cannot be organically developed at a high rate. There is a certain structural impediment out there. So, and in their own societies, you can see the tension. Often the people in the forefront of entrepreneurship and technology would actually make the case for mobility. It is the people who I would say have a certain political base or a constituency to address who may oppose it, and they will probably reach some modus vivendi there.
So some kind of a new balance between the economic and political. Your domestic needs for the same talent are also growing as you try to do more manufacturing, more advanced technologies, more medical doctors. In every field where migration we've seen grow, there are also domestic needs, and I already see the government talking about returnees or facilitating some talent coming back. So where do you see this tension playing itself out?
I don't want this to seem political, but this is actually a statement of fact. As a sort of a sweeping proposition, the number of educational institutions in this country in the last 10 years have doubled over what they were in the 60-odd years they were before that. What actually happened was after the first spurt, we somewhere plateaued. You and I are of the same generation. Probably when we left school, there were 5 IITs in the country. Till when we hit our middle age, there were still 5 IITs in the country. The manner in which, I'm just using IIT as a shorthand, don't take it literally. But the manner in which, let us say, our engineering schools, our technical schools, our medical schools, our nursing institutions, take whichever field. We didn't see, if you had a certain growth rate, it made common sense your capacities should have paralleled the growth of your economy. It didn't happen. So it's actually been, in the last 10 years, there's been this huge emphasis on increasing capacity. And why I say that to you is, you are not going to solve this problem, this apparent contradiction you refer to. You can't tell people, don't go out to work.
It's the freedom of movement.
We're a democratic society. They have a freedom to travel. If they get better prospects, of course they will look at it. The common sense thing is to create opportunities at home. To create opportunities at home, you need to address both the demand side and the supply side. The supply side means you've got to, keep increasing your output of skilled and talented people. And the demand side would be, unless you are able to post, sustained high growth rates, you're not going to be able to, find opportunities for their employment and retention.
One way of actually resolving this dilemma is also, as I said, strengthening the talent base in the country. That also, we've seen some foreign universities come in here. I think for many countries, it makes sense, rather than drawing students in, to set up universities in India.
Absolutely.
But is there enough reform from the government side to actually facilitate foreign universities operate here and create skills?
Again, it's interesting. I was at a school of management over the weekend. And because I was there, I looked into the history of that institution and saw the foreign collaboration with which it started. This was, by the way, the Indian Institute of Management in Calcutta.
The first one in the country.
Yeah, the first one in the country. The initial phase when institutions were created in this country actually had a lot of foreign collaboration. Most of your original IITs, for example, had partners. Many of the agriculture universities had partners. The management institutions had partners. Then this plateau phase, where actually there was relatively little creation.
Also the protectionist phase?
Yeah, it was also the protectionist phase. I don't think the two, it was not a coincidence. So what we have now done is we've actually liberalized, because again, as I said, like talent can move out or work can come in. We have today close to 1 million foreign students, 1 million Indian students studying abroad. 1 million. Why is that? Does it not make sense actually to liberalize the educational environment so that the universities come in? It's cheaper, it's effective, we stand to benefit. There's a very powerful logic. And it's happening now. We've had actually, I think it began with a few Australian universities. I know a number of British universities have come in, including one fairly close in the National Capital Territory, the National Capital Region. And I see many more happening. I was in Canada a few weeks ago. And I can tell you Canadian universities which draw in a lot of students. Many of them are actually quite interested in setting up campuses in India. And I think we see benefit in this. And we have left it very open. They can come in on their own, they can come in collaboratively, they can do double degrees, they can do brownfield. It's up to them to figure out.
So one last